Mohammad Nihal, you have the mic with you, and you can unmute yourself, and we'd love to hear from you. Can you hear us, Mohammad Nihal?
Hello.
Yeah. Good evening, Mohammad Nihal. Welcome to the session.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you wanted to reflect on something regarding the content that we've explored. We'd love to hear you. Your takeaways, your follow-ups.
Hello. हेलो
जी बेटा, आपकी आवाज आ रही है, अपनी बात रखें।
जी बताइए निहाल जी।
There is some network problem.
No, we can hear you. Please speak.
Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah,
we can hear you, beta. Go ahead, please.
Probably he is a bit nervous. He is unable to connect. He feels he is unable to connect, though we can hear him.
Might be some network issue also, perhaps. Our voice may not be reaching him.
So in fact, the students are getting connected, and moreover, Parikshit sir, the students, the faculties, the coordinators, the family, and those all who are related to the students and interacting with the students, they are getting aware of the content, and they are very, eager to get in touch.
Yes, definitely, sir. And even most of them are joining on YouTube as well. As I can see, it's more than 20 participants are there around, and it's around 200 participants are here. Even before, it's still around 5 minutes there.
Yeah, before the formal start of the session.
Definitely, yes.
We have Sheila Shreya Reddy.
Welcome.
You have the mic and you can unmute yourself. You want to say something from GNIT Hyderabad? Meanwhile, a lot of people on the panelists as well. So we'd like to welcome all in this common follow-up sessions of UHV of eSIP Online Student Induction Program. Today, 9th of December at 7:30, which, as already mentioned, everybody is eager for Wednesdays, 7:30 evenings, for some enlightenment, for sharing of knowledge, for sharing of the explorations, the takeaways, some reflections on the content. Because this session is interactive and consists of the sharing plus discussion on the topic related to the content. And here we have today again our resource person for this session, Arjun Asthana sir. Arjun, welcome to the session. Nice to have you back. And a lot of people are already waiting to hear from you, to discuss with you, to explore with you, as we all explore together as co-explorers. So it's gonna be an enlightening journey for all. Verifications of all the proposals that have already been put forward. We have students raising their hands.
Namaste, everyone.
Yeah, namaste.
Namaste, Arjun ji, namaste.
So very warm welcome to you in this session of Universal Human Values, the follow-up session of the eSIP Online Student Induction Program. So we have a number of participants.
We'll just start in another 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely, we still have some time. Yeah.
And the people are joining, the clock is ticking, and the number of participants is increasing every second, to be precise. Parikshit sir, can we have the figure on the YouTube right now?
Yeah, definitely, sir. It's around 20 students are there in YouTube as well.
Namaste.
And almost 300 in this Zoom session already joined.
And
so this shows the eagerness.
And we have Manisha Didi also with us. Namaste Didi, namaste.
Namaste Parikshit Bhaiya, Namir sir, Arjun, namaste.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome.
Namaste to all.
नमस्ते सभी को.
सबको नमस्ते. हमारे तरफ
Himanshu,
सबको नमस्ते.
Himanshu, how are you feeling? कैसी है
Fine,
तबीयत?
fine, 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 दीदी.
Okay, good. And it is so nice that we have nearly 300 of our young and very energetic participants.
Yeah. Sure, didi, sure. It's very nice.
Very nice.
In fact, the participants includes, we all know, the students
Yes.
who have gone through this content, their guardians, the faculties, the neighbors to an extent, madam. So it's really nice to see the message written on the wall loud and clear.
Yes.
जहाँ सब
Very
एक
true.
दूसरे को अपना संबंधी अब मान चुके हैं
बिल्कुल
और एक
ठीक
दूसरे
बात है.
के म्यूचुअलनेस हैप्पीनेस एंड प्रॉस्पेरिटी के लिए दे आर मेकिंग एफर्ट्स.
Right. So Meera Didi, Mangaldeep Didi, and everyone, a very warm welcome.
Thank you, Didi. Same for all. Namaste to all.
So, we have more than 350 of our friends, of our younger ones, siblings, everybody who's with us in this reunion.
We have passed on the mic to few of the students who had raised their hands.
Yes, we want to listen to them.
Vishwanath. Yeah, Vishwanath, good evening. Vishwanath, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. In the meantime, we can talk to Mohammad Marwan or Sheila Shreya Reddy.
Yes. Shreya is also there. Shreya.
I feel the resource person for today's session, Arjun Asthana, is ready and raring to go for the co-exploration part. With all the participants, the figure on the Zoom itself reaching almost 500. So welcome, Arjun. We are in time for the formal sessions. And
welcome, namaste all. We can start now.
Namaste.
Yes,
Yeah,
Arjun, we can start now.
So, is the voice loud enough? We are just checking with the new
loud and
with
clear,
the phone.
Perfect, Arjun. It's really audible, nicely audible. So this is Arjun with us. Arjun, your view foil is there. I'm sure most of the children and most of the participants are well aware. Yet we'll do a little brief if you would permit. Oh, it's gone. Yes.
Yeah.
So we have Arjun, of course, a very young, resource person. Did his BTech in 2012 in mechanical engineering. Freelance music composer, independent music artist, making pop music with an Indian flavor, and that's really so nice. Founder of Music Alankar and a popular music production studio and online store for music producers and artists. So young ones who are keen on music can always get in touch with Arjun. And of course, the social contact and YouTube, Arjun Asthana, and Instagram @arjun.sthana. So that's a very little about Arjun. Otherwise, you all have been listening to Arjun. So a lot in store. Arjun, over to you, beta.
Thank you so much. We will start. Today's discussion will be based on the same as what we had last time, but with more questions and more interaction, because last time it was very like one-sided. So this time the idea is to talk about the same stuff and focus more on questions and what everyone is going through and what's happening. So we want to make it that way today. So just to recap quickly, this is what we discussed last time. We were talking about natural acceptance of our natural acceptance is to make ourselves happy and to make the other happy. So this becomes very obvious, and we see that we lack the competence to do that though. So these are the things that we discussed last time, and we also discussed about peer pressure. We discussed about respect, and respect equals right evaluation. This is what we discussed. I'm just going through this very quickly because this is what we had last time, that our purpose, our program, and potential is the same. So in that regard, we are on the basis of the self. Those things are exactly the same for all of us. So in that way, we can see that we are similar, and we can also see that we are differentiating on the basis of body, on the basis of wealth, on the basis of all these things, which is not really necessary, and it's not on the basis of the self. It's not on the basis of our program, potential, and how we've discussed over here. It's not on this basis. So if we look from this basis, everything is the same. So that way we can see that we are all similar at these three levels. And similarly, we also see that we are complementary to each other, because we can see that we are trying to help each other. If one person has more competence, then we help the other to improve his competence, and like that. So we also discussed about over evaluation, under evaluation, otherwise evaluation. And in practice, we see that there's a lot of comparison which happens, and that comparison ends up becoming mostly like a mind block and a problem for us. So it doesn't feel very nice because of the feeling that someone is superior and somebody is inferior. This feeling comes up. So a side effect of the comparison is that. So that's why the differences, even though we have differences, we had discussed that we have differences, but we don't have to create differentiation. Or we have differences and we should just acknowledge those differences rather than creating discrimination based on those differences. So this is what we discussed last time. Very quickly, I went through. So now we will take, there are 20 hands raised. So now we will start taking real life questions and comments and all that. It'll be more fun actually, I think. Yeah, so we'll start. 23 hands raised. We can give people the mic and they can speak.
Durga,
they can ask or comment.
Hello?
Yeah, please.
Hello?
Oh, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Please
Yes,
continue.
yes, please go ahead.
Okay, I don't have any questions, so it's fine. Hello?
Or any comment or anything?
No,
Yeah.
I don't. No, I don't know. I think if we start a session, I can ask doubts if I have.
Okay. Today's session is mostly going to be based on the same as last time, because last time we couldn't take questions much and we didn't have much discussion. So the idea this time was to talk about the same things, and if there are any questions on this, we can discuss based on
No,
your real life things going on. All that.
No, sir, not really. I
things
think
going on with.
No, not now. I think if you discuss something really more, that will be fine. I don't have any questions right now.
Fine, we can take up.
Okay. We'll be discussing this in a little more detail. But first, we'll take some questions and then we'll discuss this a little more.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, good
evening. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Please.
Yes,
yes. Good evening, sir. I'm new to this class. May I know more about this session?
Sure. Yeah. So actually, this particular session is about respect and some of the side effects like peer pressure and low self-confidence and depression and all that. That's a side effect, but the main thing is about respect. And what respect really means, what right evaluation really means. So it's mostly about that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Any
and you can
queries
even
that you have to
go
have?
through the previous sessions of the SIP. They have been explained in more detail over there. This is mostly like just to take some questions. This particular session will be mostly questions.
Okay, sir.
So you
Thank
can ask based on whatever you've seen before, or else if you want to ask based on what we're talking about now also, you can ask.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank
This
you.
is basically a refresher session. Students, you can interact and clear your doubts, whatever you have, or explorations that you have, you can share with us so that we can co-explore in the journey.
There are
We
still
have a mic to
13 or 14 hands raised, so we can ask them if they want to.
Yeah. We try to pass on the mic. Nishant Kumar. Or Dosapati Charita.
Sir?
If they can hear us, they can.
Yeah, good evening.
Please.
Sir, good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, sir, this is Nishant. So basically, sir, what you have said in the beginning of the class or the session,
We
that
have the mics passed on to a
about
number of people in the list. They can
about
just unmute themselves. Manisha Reddy, Carla.
sir, can I continue?
About what?
Sir, can I
Yes, please
continue?
go ahead.
All right. So
Yeah, please go ahead.
yes, in the beginning of the session, you have said that we need to work for our happiness and some others, like the neighbor's happiness too, rather than going for money or something else.
Yeah.
So I have one thing
Yeah, I
about
didn't
that.
say that though.
Like that's more
I
important,
didn't
right?
say not to go for money. I
Happiness, like
didn't talk about
happiness is
money
more
and all.
important.
Yeah.
Happiness is more important, right? Sir, I have
I
one
didn't say
thing
that also, but it's true, right? About yeah.
So I want to share one thing that what happens
Sure.
is, sir, happiness is always inside ourselves, isn't it?
Yeah.
So working for happiness or waiting for happiness to come for a period of 20 or 10 years is meaningless, sir. It's pointless.
Right. It doesn't have to come from somewhere. It's already there.
That's what. It's already there. It's inside me. So this moment, if I want to be happy, I can be happy. If after 10 minutes I want to be happy, I can be happy.
Yeah.
So sir,
That is the ideal situation. But then sometimes what happens is that yeah.
So I have one doubt also, that if I'm happy, see, everybody in the world are working only for happiness, right? If Bill Gates is working, it's for happiness, or if you and I are working, it's only for happiness, right?
Right.
So if I'm happy right now and I continue to be happy and blissful all the time, then why to work?
Why to work? As in your work is not only for it's like participation in everything else. So you may be happy on your own also, but then you might not have experienced the kind of happiness that comes with working for something for the larger order, like for the harmony of others. When you start working, then that gives you a different sense of satisfaction, which can make you maybe more happy, which you may not have explored yet, or you could try.
So that's what. Sir,
there's
that's what,
one kind of state where you're
Sir?
Yeah, what about that?
So that's what, sir, like if I'm working for somebody, like if I'm working for somebody else's happiness, then it's fine, right? Like I'm not working for my own happiness. I think that's meaningless, because I'm already happy. If I'm already happy, then I should work for some others happiness, right? Maybe there are so many problems, there are so many people who face problems around the society.
Yes.
So what?
True.
I've got
when
the
we're
thought.
saying
I've
about your
got the
own
thought, and
happiness,
I'm sharing with you too. If at all any mistake is there, you can please correct me.
no, there's no mistake, because this is all, everyone has their own journey and is exploring um, on their own, right? Everyone is exploring as an individual, as well as trying to share with
Yes,
others
yes,
also. So
yes.
If you're able to see, like, are you able to have that happiness in continuity, or does it come and go? Do you have the
So
complete
it's dependent.
control over when you're
Yeah.
happy and when you're not?
Yes, yes. No, it's dependent on me,
Because
that
if
if
you
I
have
I
that,
want to. Yes.
if you're able to see that, it's very good. And like for myself, I can say that in theory I know that, but then in practice,
Right.
I'm not able to get it to that level yet.
Yes. Okay, fine.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm saying, like, you can also be honest with yourself and then
Yeah,
see
that's more
where all
important,
those
right?
gaps are, and then
Yes, that's more important, because we
yeah,
think we are happy, but we are not. Then we are some, mentally handicapped kind things.
not mentally handicapped, but then we're not really being true to ourselves, right?
Yes,
So
yes, that's very
that
important.
becomes an issue, because yeah,
Time will
because
be wasted,
if we
right?
are true to ourselves, then we'll be much more comfortable. We'll be much more
Yeah.
comfortable within.
Yes, sir.
So
Sure.
so you can just explore the points where you're unhappy, and then see where it's coming from. Where is that unhappiness coming from?
Yes, sir.
And
Sir, one more
of
thing.
course,
Why
working for other people's happiness is
something
Go ahead.
bigger, right?
What?
No, no. I don't have any other thing.
I didn't get
was
you.
just no, I was telling that working for some others'
Okay.
happiness is something bigger. That's it.
Right. It feels also like you're more connected with more people, and that way it feels more like you're doing something useful. It feels like that in some ways, and it also feels like you're not only limited to your own thing. You're
Boundaries.
kind of expanding. You
Yes.
get a feeling like that, like you're trying to expand your thing to more people. So that's why, like, some people look at all this as social service, or some people just look at it as just fulfilling their own responsibility, which they want to do anyway. So it's not really like a different effort or something. It's just like just part of your regular stuff that you do.
So, and one more
Can become
point
like that.
is, so one more point I want to tell.
Yeah.
So So some people, they do all the social service and kind of thing, and when we ask them why are you doing all this, and they say that's my happiness. No, they'll get some happiness when they serve others. But is that, no, according to your perception, is that correct, or being happy myself? And when I'm happy to myself, I don't bother anything, whatever bullshit happens to others, isn't it? What it is to me, if someone
So actually,
feels bad of.
Yeah, so good question. So the main thing is that your happiness is in your hands. Ideally, you should be able to do everything from within yourself, as in you have all the switches inside you. So the ideal situation is where you have the complete control over your happiness. And then, of course, once you have that, then whatever you do outside will be for other people's happiness, and you'll also feel happy because of that. But then your happiness is not dependent on that. Like, for example, if you're taking if you're doing something for other people which is for their happiness, then that makes you also happy, but then your happiness is not dependent
Is
on
already there. It's already there. Then why again extra?
Yeah.
It's a kind of
extras. Yeah, I mean, it's
and moreover, if I want to help others, I should do something useful for them, not for my happiness. What is needed, I should do it.
Yeah, in fact, great exploration on the part of.
Okay, we'll ask some other people also some questions because it was a very long conversation.
Sure.
Yeah. It's in fact a process of start of the execution within itself, I suppose. So it's good to hear from you, Nishant.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a continuous process. Like if we really ask ourselves where we are right now, are we able to see where we are? Are we able to get to where we want to be? That's the main question, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll take some other questions also because we had a long chat. So we don't want to focus only on one person. There are lots of
thank you, sir. Thank you.
people who
We've passed on the mic to a number of people. They
Thank
can
you.
unmute yourself. Dosapati, Charita.
Hello.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening. Actually, I got the mic before. I didn't ask anything, so I'd like to ask something right now.
Please welcome.
Yeah. So it's just a small incident. Like I have a friend who is in 7th grade right now, and me and she was having a conversation, and then she asked me something that, do you know what is Halloween? I'm like, yeah, I know. She's like, I thought I don't need to ask you this question. And then I'm like, why did you even think that? And then she didn't give me a right answer. And then I was so irritated. I'm like, why did she even think that I don't know what is it? Did she even judge me wrong or something? I didn't even talk to her for a couple of days. And then I told my dad about this. He's like, your self-esteem is really low. I'm like, no, it's not that. And then he's like, no, your self-esteem is low. And then I'm like, no. And then me and my dad had a small fight because of it. And then I just left it. So do you guys have something to tell about this, or is it my fault, or is it that girl's fault? I don't know.
You can look at it's not like you don't have to look at it as whose fault it is. You can look at it as the understanding. So what you could see is that evaluation is being based on different opinions and different preconditioning, right? So if you look at one person's preconditioning, it may be that everyone should know about this, right? If it's Halloween, it's like everyone should know about it. Why don't you know about it? If you don't know about it, you're dumb. So this could be a preconditioning, right? Somebody's preconditioning. And somebody else's preconditioning would be something else, that knowing about this stuff is not really important. You should focus on what is more important. And then another person may have a totally different preconditioning, right? So different opinions, different thoughts, different ideas don't have to lead to a difference in the level of respect you have for the other person, because the respect is not based on the other. The respect is based on right evaluation of yourself. So if you can see that our program is the same, our potential is the same in terms of ourself, if you see, then those opinions and all that comes under a different level of things. This is one level of what you're looking at, and the other level is the differentiation, where you're seeing that there are so many differences. So you're seeing that there are differences. In this case, you're seeing on the basis of beliefs or assumptions or mindsets, right? So
yes, sir.
On the right, you can see the right of the slide. So in this case, it's like a difference in those things. But again, like when we're talking about differences, the differences are just there. There are lots of differences, but they don't have to be looked at as some means for discrimination. They can just be looked at as, okay, they're different, that's it. So there's nothing else to look at in terms of difference. You just see that they're different. Somebody might have a different assumption, somebody might have a different mindset. You just see that, acknowledge it, and then you don't let that become a source for discrimination. And then that's one thing. And then the second thing I would say is to look at this one, where you have different kinds of evaluation based on all these differences. So if you evaluate based on the other, or the other means something outside, like a preconditioning or a mindset, or something outside. If you evaluate based on that, then you'll keep going between ego and depression, because some of those mindsets may match with what you have in your mind and some may not match, and then that will keep leading to this ego and depression fluctuation. So rather than that, if you're your own reference point, then that will never happen, because you always know where you are, like in terms of your program potential and all that. And then you can see that the other person is also similar to you in that regard, not in terms of the differences, but in that regard, you're similar. So then the fourth step comes that you try to improve the competence of the other if you can, or else you try to learn from the other if you feel like the other has more knowledge in that. Yeah, so that's what it is basically.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
As we already said,
anything
it is a
else? Did that answer the
continuous
question?
self-exploration. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I got an answer for that question. I was actually confused, and through your explanation, I got, yeah, people will have their own self-evaluation, and I should not take it like as my ego or depression. I should just take it, it's their opinion, and then go. If I take it, then as you told, it will be fluctuating between my ego and depression. So I understood. You showed me the
Yeah, because
graphs and
opinions may not match all the time, and also opinions may not match all the time. Everyone might have different opinions, and usually what happens is that friends become the people who have the same opinions. But even those friends don't last as long as the friends which are friends for who are the real friends, right?
yeah, they have different opinions. Yeah.
So what we can really see is that this evaluation has to be done by yourself. Like you should be the reference for your evaluation. So for example, if your reference is the other, then if somebody praises you a lot, then you go into ego. And if somebody criticizes you a lot, or says a lot of bad stuff about you, then you go into depression. But if you are your own reference, then no matter what anybody says, your stability remains there, because your self-confidence is not changed. It stays the same.
Yes.
So
yes, sir.
that way you won't be affected also by all these.
Yeah.
So that way you'll be stronger.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Great guidance, Arjun. In fact, that was great exploration
now
on part of the story.
12 more questions.
Good evening, sir.
12 more questions are there. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
I'm Navya. Hello.
Yeah,
Am I
please
audible,
continue.
sir?
Yeah, you are audible. You are audible. Please continue.
Yes, please go ahead.
May I go with Telugu?
I don't know Telugu. I can do Hindi
Okay,
or
sir.
English.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Is ego is harmful to us? Ego.
Harmful, like when we're talking about ego, we're mostly talking about identifying with a certain framework. Like when we're identifying with our thought process, or identifying with what is going on inside our desires, and what is going on inside our thoughts, what is going on inside our imagination. And if we are identified with our body, with our possessions and all that, we are all actually quite identified with these things. But the more we identify with this, the more we'll have a problem, because we'll get more and more attached to these things, which will cause more and more of our own side effects. Like we'll have less and less of our own freedom, if you see. So that is one thing which can be explored over time, and you can check it out for yourself and see.
Okay, sir. Opinions may not match.
Yeah,
opinions may not
match.
Yeah, we can do the things which we like. The people who around us will not like that. The things.
So if
they maybe
you're doing something which the people around you, if you're doing something which the people around you don't like, then you can just have a good conversation with them about why you're doing it, and they have as their expectation for you, and you can have a detailed conversation so that everything gets sorted out. With discussion, you can actually sort out a lot if you have a discussion in the right flow, right? If you're able to go in a proper flow, then a lot of stuff can be sorted out. It's like if you have lots of cobwebs, right? Then you just with the jhadu you take it out and it comes out, right? So in the same way, the discussion is like that. Discussion can make a lot of clarity come into the whole thing. So rather than having the opposition that the other person doesn't want you to do this and you want to do this, and that's why we can't get along. Instead of that, you can have a proper discussion and then go to the root of why you're doing it and link it with happiness again. That that the other person also wants to make you happy, you also want to make the other person happy. And if you link it like that, then you'll see that the details may vary a little bit about what you want to do and what the other person has as an expectation for you to do. That may vary a little bit, but then that can be sorted out once you go to the root of it, which is happiness.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Take another. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, myself, Dr. S. Rahottandan, sir, from Telangana.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself and speak, please.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, actually, as of now, the screen which you shared, it shows ego, self-confidence, depression. So, as per my concern, sir, there is one common point is that is called a inferiority complex. So, how far that inferiority complex
that happens in.
Yes, please proceed. How far it touch ego, self-confidence? Because it touch for a human being, if the person is having an inferiority complex, it makes ego. It makes they are losing their self-confidence. It makes them depression. So it touches everything.
Yeah, so basically this inferiority complex or superiority complex comes because of comparison. And this comparison happens when we differentiate. So like we have differences, right? So that's what I was saying, that we have differences and we have to accept them, and accept them without feeling that we are going to discriminate based on these differences. So all this superiority and inferiority complex happens only because of our discrimination based on the differences. Like, for example, if I have a mindset about gender that male is better than female, I mean, I don't have that, I'm just saying for an example. Suppose I have something like that, then I will automatically look down on people who are not of the male gender. I'll do something like that. Or similarly, if I have a thing for wealth, that people who are rich are better than the people who are poor, or something like that. If I make a comparison and I differentiate based on these things, it may not be even these things, it could be anything, but I'm just giving an example that if we start differentiating, then it automatically leads to that superiority or inferiority complex. So the way to get out of that is to not differentiate at all, just to acknowledge that we have these differences and not bother too much about it. Rather than that, look at what we have in common, which is this part, that on the basis of the self, our purpose is the same, our program is the same, and our potential is the same, because our natural acceptance is the same. So once we see this, then we feel more connected with people, and you lose the sense of differentiation. So this is how to get out of that.
Sir, one more interactions I want to. So that is, if the person is, for example, if a person is not able to expose them. For example, if the person working in a concern or MNC or working in college, they are doing some work, whatever assigned, but they could not able to expose after completion of that particular work. So, how far
expose as in I didn't understand what.
Yeah, exposing.
Expose what? I didn't understand what.
Expose in the sense that particular person could not. That particular person is having talent, but they are not exposing that particular talent.
Okay. Okay. So
to the hierarchy
what to do about that is the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing could be either because the person is shy about what the other people will think about him when he showcases his talent, or it could be because he's feeling inferior, like how you're saying, right? Inferiority complex. So you have to see what reason it is why he's not able to do that. Most probably it will be that he's either afraid of what others will say, or else it's both linked actually. If he's afraid of what others will say, then it will lead to that inferiority complex, because we don't know how. I mean, he must be thinking that he doesn't know how the other person will take it if he's trying to say something. So again,
Yeah, sure.
the person has to get into this self-confidence mode, which is by understanding that they are their own reference, and by understanding that that whole aspect of respect and natural acceptance, then slowly it will come. It takes time to get over that and to come out of your shell, as we say, that to come out of what you have been having in the mind, like all those mind blocks and all that. So it does take time, but then the only route is through self-confidence, to get to that level of self-confidence through understanding.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's all from my end, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's a question in the chat box regarding some depression issues in students, and how can they overcome it?
Yeah, some similar question are on YouTube also, Arjunji, and it's not like depression, but it's something like how to balance between the study and other activity, and how to manage a student Akhar Purv Sarkar and a student Meenal Patil. The similar question are there. How can I maintain balance in my study and creative practice, and how can I manage too much studies? So I think the similar type of questions are there. Kindly respond to them, please. Yeah, welcome.
Okay.
Probably something which you are already showing on the slide.
So,
yes, similarly, even Meghna is saying that how can we leave hesitation, sir?
hesitation also happens because we are unsure about what the other person will think about what you say. Like you're not saying it because you're unsure about how the other person will react to what you say. So that is all happening because of this other person being the reference. So when the other person is the reference, then you're kind of giving the other person the complete control. So it's like giving them the remote of your TV, right? Because then you don't have any freedom of what you want to say, because the other guy can switch you off anytime, or change the thing anytime, change your channel anytime. So that's not the ideal situation, because if that happens, then you'll always be worried about what the other person is thinking, what the other person is going to say, and all that. So the biggest thing here is to realize that what the other person is thinking, first of all, you don't know, because they're just thinking, right? What they say, you can come to know. That's all you'll know. And how much of you do they know about is another thing. First of all, we ourselves don't know ourselves completely, right? We ourselves don't know exactly who we are. So it's very hard to imagine how much the other person knows about us. Like, for example, I know a little bit about myself, right? And you know less than that about me, because you know me less than how much I know myself. And that way. So if you're thinking something about me, then it doesn't make any difference to who I am if I don't take all those opinions and those things, right? So if I'm my own reference point, then I have self-confidence, and I will keep saying what I have to say without thinking about what the other person is thinking about me. So I don't know if that was confusing or that was clear. I don't know. But basically, that's what it is. That's why we have this hesitation, that we are too concerned about whether our preconditioning will match the other person's preconditioning, whether our opinion will match the other person's opinion, and so on. So we have to realize that, first of all, those opinions don't have to match, and many times they won't match. But if we are our own reference and we are sure about what we are trying to say, then we'll automatically have that self-confidence, and we won't move, like we won't be waved by what the other person says or what the other person thinks is much beyond. We don't even know what they're thinking.
मेरे ख्याल से अर्जुन आप कुछ ऐसा कहना चाह रहे हैं कि if we are thinking not on the basis of our natural acceptance but by influence or pressure of something else, तो ये सारी चीजें हो सकती हैं,
हाँ
right?
हाँ जी, तो वही बोल रहा हूँ कि मतलब जो जो अपना ओपिनियन है, अगर दूसरा भी है, दूसरा अगर सोच रहा है कुछ अपने बारे में, कुछ सोच रहा है, तो उससे हमें क्या लेना देना? लाइक हम तो मतलब अलग ही है ना, लाइक वी आर कंप्लीटली अ डिफरेंट, समथिंग डिफरेंट इज हैपनिंग विद इन अस। सो हमें दूसरे के बारे में पता भी नहीं है कि वो क्या सोच रहे हैं और क्या उनके मन में क्या चल रहा है, उसका तो कुछ आइडिया भी नहीं है। तो अगर उस बेसिस पे हम डिसीजन लें तो फिर काफी मीनिंगलेस ही होगा, क्योंकि हम मतलब दूसरे का ओपिनियन हमें पता भी नहीं है, लेकिन उनके मन में जो चल रहा है उसके बेसिस पे हम सोच रहे हैं कि उनके मन में क्या चल रहा होगा, उसके बेसिस पे हम अपना अगर डिसाइड करें तो काफी परतंत्रता है। इट्स नॉट लाइक फ्रीडम, इट्स मोर लाइक गेटिंग enslaved by something which doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, very true. Because our decisions will be on the basis of those preconditionings and all, right?
Right. Our decisions will be on the basis of other people's opinions about us.
So we can have more questions from.
So if there are differences of opinions within the family and all that, then it has to be just has to be discussed. Discussed and linked with the reason why we are doing everything. So if you link it with happiness, that is the root, then you see the whole program towards what you're doing and how it is linking to your happiness and all that. And then you see that the other also wants to make you happy. So वो पूरा chain अगर एक बार देख लेंगे, so you will come to know कि it's all like there are only a little bit of fluctuations in the details within the process, but otherwise at the root everything is the same. So if there are a few differences in the small details, then those can be worked out and sorted out. And the other question was what? Based on how to manage time, right?
Yeah, most important for students, in fact.
So about managing time, I think like what ends up happening is that we do what we think is the most important for us to do. So at a particular point of time, if we think that something is very important for us because we want to fulfill this desire or because we want to do something, or we have something in mind like that, so in that case then we leave everything else and we focus on that. So if you're always looking at what we actually want to do, then automatically energy and time flows in that direction. So it's very simple that way. Most of the time when we say that time got wasted, it happens because we are not aware of what is going on inside. So if you're aware of what is going on, then time waste will not happen. So the attempt should be to be aware 24/7, but that is hard to start with, and it is easier to start with just having an awareness every hour maybe, and ask yourself what you're doing and is it worth doing or not? Are you interested in doing it or not, or is it just happening without you wanting to do it? So ये question अगर पूछ लें अपने आप से, so we'll get to know, and that way you will be able to make your energy and time flow in the direction that you want it to flow.
There's a question: how to handle failure?
How to handle failure? Failure also, it's the same thing that we've given the reference to the other, who is the examiner. So you could have failed at one point in some subject or something, maybe not even a subject, maybe you feel like you failed in life or something. But basically that's just happening because we are feeling that we didn't do what we were planning to do. So that's all. So suppose you have a plan to go to the moon or something and you didn't go to the moon, then you can say that you're a failure. But rather than that, you can see feasibility, first of all, of what you're trying to do. And second, if you feel like it is something which you should have been able to do but you weren't able to do, then all you can do is make effort to do that and put in your time and energy to do that. So there's nothing more that you can really do about, because if you keep looking at the past and seeing that, okay, this didn't happen, that didn't happen, then in the future also there's less scope that will happen, because we're automatically not accepting ourselves the way we are. We have to see what our strengths are, what our practical situations are, and then work out what to do with our limited time and resources and all these things, and get to the best according to what we can do. That's all. So rather than looking back at the failures, whatever failures have happened in our lives, it's better to accept them, learn from them, and then move on. That's like a standard thing what people would say. So if there's any more detail which you want to add in the question, you can add, and then we can go in more detail if you want. But basically that's it.
Most of the questions coming in the chat are dealing with the concept of confidence, overconfidence, and how to overcome the stage fright and all that. So
okay, so confidence, overconfidence happens because we are not able to see that. Okay, first we'll go over confidence. So confidence comes when you are your own reference. So when you are your own reference, then you have definite conduct, because you're not bothered about the other people's opinions and other people's thoughts about you. You're just not bothered, as in it's not like you're not concerned about them, but it's like those opinions and thoughts don't affect you. So that means your state of confidence stays very stable, as in whatever anybody says, you will just take it, and it won't keep playing in your mind on repeat. It'll just come and go, and you have the choice whether to take any input as a constructive input or not. You have a complete choice, and nothing that anybody says ever sticks inside your mind and keeps playing again and again on loop. So if you're reaching that, then you have self-confidence and you don't have any kind of stage fright, because in the stage fright, what happens is that you're scared about what you will do on stage and what other people will say also. So even I had this at one point. Like I was in this state where I used to not have confidence to go on stage. If I had to perform somewhere or something, I used to not know if it won't go right, what do I do? This kind of thing was there. So once you feel like whatever happens is going to happen at that moment, so at that moment you put your full effort into doing what you have to do, and then just let it happen and deal with the consequence also. And also don't really get disturbed by other people's opinions. So if you are able to do this much, then there will be no problem of having this stage fright. And about overconfidence, overconfidence happens when you think something is very simple for you, and you end up messing it up because it was not that simple in real life. So this is just not evaluating the situation properly also, and not evaluating your competence also properly. So your competence has to be evaluated properly before you try to make a program, right? So in the same way, if your competence, if you think your competence is very high but in reality it is very low, then you will have this problem that you end up going somewhere trying to do something, but then it doesn't happen the way you expect, because you've misevaluated your own competence, and you've also misevaluated the situation, what's happening in the situation. So that results in overconfidence. And overconfidence ends up resulting in depression also, because you don't reach where you wanted to reach. So you have an expectation that you'll reach somewhere and then you don't reach there. So then that leads to, again, depression. So as you can see in this slide also, we have this thing about ego and depression, and that continuous loop that happens whenever the other is your reference. And whether, like, when you have this misjudged your own competence, then again, this could be another way of looking at it, that you've misjudged your competence, and that's why you keep having this fluctuation. But it's not only misjudging the competence, it's also, the other people being your reference and not looking at the bigger picture of respect and of right understanding. Once you see the bigger picture of that, and then you see that you are your own reference, then all this stuff disappears. So it is, in theory, it looks very easy, but then in practice, you have to actually try being aware of this all the time so that it actually comes into practice. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening.
Hello. Happy evening, sir.
Hello.
Hello. Happy evening,
Yeah.
sir.
Happy evening.
Yeah, myself
Yeah,
Ganesh,
happy
sir.
evening. Yeah.
Myself Ganesh,
Please
sir.
go ahead.
Was I audible, sir?
Yes. Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question, sir. Yeah, praising leads you. You said that praising leads to ego. Sir, praising leads to ego. You said that praising leads to ego.
No, not like that. What I said was that if somebody praises you and if you over-evaluate yourself, then it leads to this state. So if somebody praises you, it's not a problem, but it's a problem once you start linking your self-image with that image of what somebody is trying to say, and then you lose the sense of your right evaluation. You start over-evaluating yourself. So if that over-evaluation happens within you, then it leads to ego.
Okay, sir. I have one more question too.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir,
yeah. Please ask.
For getting success, we should do compromises? Should we compromise ourselves for getting
like
success?
Compromises. You have to see what you are looking for, basically. So why do you want success and what is success to you? This has to be very clear before you start making compromises and all that, right? So what exactly do you mean by success according to you? And
yeah, I mean compromising means killing our character. Sir, killing our character for getting success, is that really needed?
No, it's not needed. Why do you have to do that?
Yeah, in many cases of success, we find same thing, compromising, killing our character and moving ahead for success. Is that really success?
That you have to ask the people who have reached there also, because it may look like it's success for another person, but for the person who is actually there, we don't know, right? Like there are so many famous people also, there are so many millionaires also who are depressed, right? So
sir,
we don't really
you to reach
know
your
unless,
goal.
Yeah.
Sir, you to reach your goal of music.
What goal?
You started with your career with mechanical engineering and started your career in music too. Can you define that compromising, killing our character is essential?
No, I didn't do that also. Because, I don't have plan to do that. But yeah, like sometimes you have to make a balance between what all you're doing, what all you're spending time on, and all that. But that's up to the individual and up to your goal of success. Like if your goal of success is the only thing that is important for you, then you'll end up doing all these compromises, right? But if you have this thing that you want to do music and you also want to have good relations in the family, you also want to contribute towards the society, you also want to do all these things, then you'll have a more balanced life, right? So it's totally up to the individual. Like if success in one field is your priority, then you'll automatically run after only that one thing, and you might get further than how you would get if you're doing all 3, 4 things, 5 things. So that has to be decided based on your own understanding also of everything, right? About how important is that success for you, and again link everything with happiness. That would you be happy if you were successful, so-called successful, but if you were alone and you didn't have any people around you and you didn't have good relations, you didn't have all that? So it's always personal preference. whether you want to make any compromise or not. But it's basically again linked to happiness, right? Always link it with happiness and link it with what you want to do and your own priorities. Like if your family is also a priority, then you won't go against everyone and do something, right? So you will have a good discussion, make everyone comfortable, and then you will go to do something. So that way you might even get more successful actually in the long run, and you might
Okay,
actually
sir.
feel more happy also. So it's always up to
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Hello.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for
Yeah,
your sparing
hello.
time.
Thank
Sir,
you.
am I audible?
Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, I'm Srivalli.
Yeah.
Sir, you were speaking about hesitation. Then I heard that we should not hesitate to say something. Like if I share something about
Sure.
myself in this session also, many people will think they'll judge me. So many people stop saying anything due to people are so judgmental these days. So how can we overcome that feeling of people are being so judgmental?
That's a good question, and I had that a lot also. I still have it a little bit, but it's much less than before. So I think the answer to that is when we say people are judgmental, right? You just said that statement, right?
Yes, sir.
So this usually happens when we also judge other people a lot.
Yes, sir. I too judge.
You
I
notice that?
also judge people a lot, but I
Exactly.
stopped it when I felt that people are judging me, and I felt like, what will they feel when I'll judge them?
Right. Exactly. So this is the answer. You answered it yourself, right? So you got the answer. So basically, to acknowledge that we all are different in terms of our these things, right? In terms of so many things which we are different in. But that difference should not become a source of differentiation, and that differentiation, comparison, superiority, inferiority, that whole chain happens, right? So to avoid that, the only thing is to acknowledge the differences and then see the similarity, that everyone wants to be happy, everyone wants to make the other happy, right? So
Sir, myself, I have
this
stopped
is
judging people, but after me, I haven't noticed any change in anyone. So we automatically get hesitated to say anything, right?
True. So again, even if you have still felt it that way, then it's probably also because you're still feeling this thing. Wait 1 second, I'll just show you what to say. That you might still have this thing that you're dependent on the other person's opinion, like for validation, right? So you want to see if the other person accepts the way you think or not. So the other person may or may not, and that's not in your hands also. So it's better not to really focus on that part, because you can't really do much unless you want to make an effort to improve the other person's competence. You can't do anything else, right? And if you have to improve the other person's competence, there has to be trust first. Otherwise, why would the other person listen to you also? That's another practical thing that happens. So the first thing is to realize that, okay, when you're saying that people are judging you, then to also realize that you're also judging people, and you're saying that you stopped it, but it doesn't really stop as such. It just becomes more mellow, I guess. It becomes more subtle. So that's a good sign, because that shows that it's not as important for you as it was before. So in the same way, maybe like the hesitation that you were having before has become less, right? Has it become less?
Yes, sir. I can speak somewhat confident these days because I feel that even they judge me, I don't care for that these days. Like,
Yeah, so it should not disturb you. It should not disturb you. Whatever the other person is thinking is happening in their mind, and you have no control of that. And plus, whatever the other person knows about you also is just a very small fraction of what you actually are, because you yourself don't know much about yourself. So that's what I was saying, right? That like you have you know something about yourself. But if you ask me, I know very little about you, right? I know only that you're asking a question and this is your question. That's all I know about you. So in the same way, your friends might know a little bit more about you, but they don't know everything about you, because you also don't know everything about you. So if this becomes a basis for this whole thing, then it's already incomplete. The picture is already incomplete. So you're basing it on a very tiny fraction of what the reality is. So then obviously
in
there's a
fact, there is a
loophole
similar
there.
question in the chat box also from a student, Srirag Mohan. So I have been living in this world for the past 18 years, but still now I can't understand the meaning of success. Please explain the word success. This is a state of confusion probably.
Okay.
How to identify success with what they actually want to do.
So yeah, a lot of times this success, what we think of success, is defined by either preconditioning or sensation, right? So if you look from your natural acceptance point of view, then all you really want is to be happy and prosperous. That's all. You just want to have a comfortable living and you want to be happy. So if you're able to have that, then what else do you need? And if the answer is that you don't need anything else, then I would say that is success, right? Could that be called success? We can ask him if he's there.
Yeah, I think that probably addresses his query and the doubts. K.S. Deeparani Kundavaram. If we are not getting actually what we expect, on what time we usually get more emotional and even get depressed, how to face the situations?
Yeah, so everything that we plan or everything that we do may not lead to the result that we have in mind, right? So many things go less than expected. So first of all is to set the expectation right, so that you don't have this thing that it's much less than the expectation. That's one thing you can do. But more importantly, the thing to do is to keep going forward with whatever you have, and always realize that there's still scope to get to whatever you're looking for. And maybe you have to change your way of putting effort, or maybe you have to change something about it, your action plan or whatever, and then you can always get to that. So that's like similar to a question about failure, right? That if you fail in something, then how do you cope with it, or how do you go ahead? So again, it's the same thing, that that see what you have to do, and then make more effort towards fulfilling your goal of what you have to do. So when you get depressed about it, then the depression doesn't lead to anything. The depression just leads to more depression, actually. So instead of more depression, you have to make it lead to self-confidence. So again, go through the right understanding proposals and all that, through trying to see, check for yourself about your expectations. Also, you should check and see if you have set proper expectations also or not. Because if you set small expectations and you're doing more work than what you have your expectations set at, then you will get more results, better results than expected. So then that will automatically make you feel like you're doing much better than what you planned. So if you put in more effort than what your expectation is, then that also is a way to do that. But depression doesn't really lead to anything. So you have to always be kind of stable, and don't be bogged down by what the other people say, the other people's opinions and all that. Just keep going and have that confidence within yourself. How people say, believe in yourself, right? That kind of a thing, where you keep going regardless of what other people may say.
We have a faculty, Ms. Vasanti Vasireddy. Parikshit sir, can you hand over the mic to ma'am, who has raised a hand? She wants to interact with Arjun. Yeah, because
Vasanti ma'am, you have the mic. Yeah. Welcome, Vasanti ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Welcome, ma'am.
I have a question related to one of my students, sir, Arjun sir. I mean, I expressed the same thing during refresher course also. I think he is in the second year BTech now. During first year itself, from day one, he actually is not interested in studies. They have a very good business and he is interested in the business. But father is actually interested in education and he wanted to see his son as a very good. And after 1.5 years, now he is about to complete second year. The other day also he was speaking that, ma'am, I don't remember anything, ma'am, though I study for a number of hours also. So I'm not interested, but my father is not feeling good. That's why I'm coming to college. And he has so many backlogs, sir. He hasn't completed first year at all. So almost 8 subjects of first year and then again second year. So I'm actually confused how to counsel him, sir. I've been talking to him every month. I'm sorry if I'm too long.
No, ma'am. The teacher's concern is a very genuine concern.
No,
In
I
fact.
think no problem. It's a very relevant concern because this happens with so many people, right? That
yes, sir, because friends are also there. I think
they might have a lot of skill. They might have a lot of capability to pass the exam and all that, but they're just not interested because for them it is not relevant. From their point of view, it is not relevant. So if he wants to do a business, then his BTech is totally irrelevant, right? So
yes, sir.
I would think that the best thing to do is to help him to uh, go ahead in his own journey rather than making him stick to BTech. Because
Yes,
if
sir, that's what
he's
I
really
thought of.
good at something else, then
Yes, I thought of saying,
but at the same time we have to make sure that he's able to do that.
Yeah, he's, sir, especially during lockdown. Maybe prawns business, sir. Actually, they have some lands, I think. So exporting and all, he actually spent a lot of time in that, he said. So he is actually used to, and his uncle's also in the same business. Confident, sir, very confidently he says that he earns money in that, and he knows every single, because one day during study hour, I had to sit for 4 hours in the same class, sir. All the 4 hours he was after me, saying everything about their business and all. He didn't study at all, ma'am. Though I study, I don't remember. Don't worry about my study, ma'am. Please listen to me. He said, and continuously he said that, after listening to him, how confident he was with his business and all, I wondered what to say. If I say, okay, you continue, then I was a little bit sentimental, sir, because his father would be worried, no, because I motivate student like this. This is what
Right. So it has to be discussed from all sides. It has to be discussed from all the sides, and from the point of view of a student who is in that kind of a zone. The thing is that his BTech and all that is a distraction for him, which is unnecessary because he's already fully focused on his business, right?
Yes,
so
sir,
if he's made to do something which is totally out of line of that, then he has no interest. So then obviously he'll have backlogs. It doesn't mean that he can't study, but it means that he has no interest in that and it's not relevant for him.
Yeah,
like for example, if somebody tells me to do like MTech right now, then I won't be interested and I'll keep doing music and I'll have backlogs. But that doesn't mean that I can't do it. I would definitely be able to do it.
He's capable enough.
It's not a lack of competence. It's
yes, sir, true.
We have another question from Professor.
So the same thing has to be explained to the father also.
Father also.
Eventually, the father also wants to see him happy, right?
Yes, sir. That's what.
Eventually, the father also wants to see that son is happy. So
yes, sir. And he actually is also observing now for the last 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, both of you.
So it's a very clear answer. It's a very clear thing, but it has to be discussed with everyone properly all together. So that way it would be much more.
There's one more question from a faculty. Arjun?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I think since the time is up, we'll close the session, but then we'll keep continuing for a few minutes.
Yes, formally we can take one question from Professor.
If anyone wants to leave, if anyone wants to leave, they can leave, and then we just continue for another 1 or 2 questions, right?
Yeah, with a special thanks to all those faculties who were also with us along with the students. The figure had reached almost 780 at a point of time, and till
Yes,
the
that's very
end.
right.
Yeah, and even at this formal end of the session, we have a lot of faculties from Dr. Ajay Bhushan to Dr. Mathan Kumar, Dr. Muchakala, Dr. Rama Prasad, Dr.
Yes.
Sangeeta Ola. And it's really thankful that you are with us to motivate the students to carry forward the efforts that AICT and the NCCIP and all of us are doing for the forwarding of these proposals to maintain the harmony and establishment of it at all 4 levels. Thanking you all to be with us, and hope, and one important announcement as well, that from Friday onwards we'll be having this common follow-up session for the module of physical health and related activities also. Professor Saundara Rajan, who was with us for the eSIP, or one of his team members, will be with us to help the students to understand the basic principles to remain healthy, fit, and to practice them. So Friday, same time, 7:30, we'll be formally meeting for these sessions on this physical health and related activities.
Okay, that's very nice. That means
Yeah.
Dr. Sundaraj Perumal sir will be there.
Yeah. So,
Right?
yeah, as Arjun already said, those who have some important issues, they can leave the session formally, and the session is continuing till we have a lot of queries coming up, which are unlimited, of course. The question that I was referring was from Professor Revat Kumar. If a faculty complained wrongly and if a faculty complained wrongly and his controller officer written to hire to take action immediately, is this right evaluation? Professor Revat Kumar.
I didn't get the question.
Professor Revat, you have the mic. It's
Yeah. Thank you very much. My question is like this: in a institute, there are different faculty. If one faculty complains, your complaints to complaints of the controlling officer as a principal, and wrongly, and if the controlling officer as a principal uh, asked higher officer to take action immediately on that faculty, is it a right evaluation?
That I don't know exactly the situation actually, how it is, but it is best to evaluate the situation by talking to everyone and taking everyone's viewpoint at least before making a decision. So that would be the minimum that can be done probably. But the exact situation, how it is playing out, I don't really know. So I won't be able to answer that like that.
And yeah, situation is like this, that the person or a faculty which is wrongly complaining the authority, and therefore authority is compelled to write to the higher officer that you have to take suitable action on that particular faculty. It is no need to talk to other subordinates, because the action has to be should be initiated, or judgment is to be given taken by the authority, means principal. So how to consult other colleagues or his colleagues? It's not, no, it's a hierarchy, no. Some faculty, head of department, principal, then directorate, secretariat. It is like this. It's an administrative setup.
Basically, I feel this is an issue of hierarchy, as already sir said, and administratively, whatever the systems and procedures are laid down.
Yeah.
So some of the systems and procedures are very rigid. So then in those situations, you can't do much in that sense. But then the only thing that can be done is to discuss these proposals with other faculty members and have a nice discussion about all these things and see what is the outcome of that. As when we explore these in detail, we see that everyone wants to be happy, and if there's a faculty member who is trying to get on top of someone else in the hierarchy by doing something, by complaining about other people wrongly complaining or doing something, then we can just see that their competence is not there to understand the harmony between all the members of the faculty. And it is mostly a selfish motive to come on top. And why do you want to come on top? Again, it's the mindset that more money will make them happier. So if these proposals are explored and seen that more money may or may not work for them in terms of their happiness, then all this discussion can lead to something. But in terms of system, many things are very rigid. So unless they are
Sir,
changed,
can I add to this? The situation is like this, that this is not happened first time. It is repeatedly the things are suggestion given to that particular faculty. But even if giving everything with a reasonable understanding, but with a wrong impressions, and because of some notions in the mind that some idiom is there, or some caste factor is there, or something is there. So if it is in mind and if it is wrongly done, so the authority has no option but to write to his higher up. So I am saying that it's a right evaluation.
I think it is best to discuss and do it, but then if the current system doesn't permit that, then you just have to go with the rules of the current system. But then you can always discuss this, that okay, these isms, these sects, races, whatever you're mentioning, that they are there, there are differences, but then they don't have to lead to discrimination. So in practice, stuff can be really discussed more, and then you can go further with that. So
it's more about realization and understanding, I suppose.
Long term, the solution is to have a detailed discussion with the other faculty members, with the hierarchy, with the other people above in the hierarchy also. But in present scenario, if you're not able to do that, then the only thing to do is to see what the current system is and do the best for within that system, for moving within that system. That's it.
Thank you, Professor Revat Kumar.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
We can have some more questions. Parikshit sir, can you hand over the mic to people?
Yeah. Is there any other question, or should we close?
I think we should wind up. It's 8:45, and definitely the questions.
It's 8:45. I think we'll close now.
Yeah, formally we can close, and hoping to meet again.
So one last question. This is regarding my viewpoint. From the fifth standard, I have just dreamt about the space and being a doctor. After I was in 11th and 12th, I have choose math stream. Then in engineering, I felt I have to choose aeronautical, and then I felt like no, we get less placements in that, and then I choose to CS. But now also I just want to go to my dreams, and I just want to achieve that. Is it right to do that or not?
So you can see why you want to do that also. Like obviously it will be linked with happiness, but then in between, what are the things in between? Like the dots that connect these two things, that why you want to do that particular thing. If you see that, then you'll get some part of the answer, and the other part of the answer will come from your overall goal. Like so if you can say that in brief, then we can discuss more about it.
I just want to I want to join NASA. It's my lifetime dream since I was a child.
Why is the question?
Because I just want to explore the space and the space and all that related things. I was too attracted since my childhood.
But again, why? So keep going through this chain. Why do you want to explore space?
I feel they are more interesting that which lie in Earth, everyone knows, but no one knows what is in space actually.
So no, is it because you're feeling that that you're going to explore a different set of things, or is it because you want to expand your like your thing of who you are?
I want to know that because
Of who you are.
it is till now no one knows what a complete universe is, right? So I can get more knowledge regarding that because it makes me more it gives me more potential. That's why I
But
just want to.
with this more potential, are you looking for this more potential so that you know more than others about this subject?
Yes, sir. To know more, and I want to spread that to everyone.
But then, yeah. So question is, why do you want to know more? And then after that, what do you do? So you're saying you want to spread that to everyone. So okay, so that's one thing. So if you're able to spread that to everyone and know more without joining NASA, then what about that possibility?
Moreover, Arjun, we can pass on our good wishes to her so that she may achieve harmony at that level as well.
Yeah. But I'm just asking an important question. That is it like based on NASA, or is it based on spreading the understanding which is gained about space? So if it is about
Just spreading about
knowing more about space and then spreading that,
I want to.
then NASA is one means. There can be many means to get
Yes,
to
sir.
that point.
Yes. There are many means, but world-known famous institute is more. It's on top ranking, so that is why I want to join NASA. It's not like
See, that is
only
what I
NASA
was
can make
so,
me knowledgeable. It's not like that. But Indian institutes are also not less comparatively.
yeah. But now, if you can see the exact picture is coming up. That it's not only to share the stuff about space and to get the knowledge about space, but it's also to make your self image bigger because you've been to NASA, and then NASA has a particular preconditioning in your mind or in people's minds around you, so that people will you might have a feeling that people may respect you more, or people may take you more seriously if you're as a part of NASA. So you have to explore this in a lot more detail. That why do you want to join NASA? Is it because of understanding and then sharing it with others, or is it because think that you will get more respect from others, or you'll have a better position in society, or you'll have a better status in society?
Yes, sir.
This is something to really look at, because if this is a goal, then this will never really fulfill you as such.
As bigger position we are in, people listen us more. Like if we are if I talk about any stuff in general, no one will take it more serious, sir. If if the chief minister comes and speak anything, it would be more powerful, right? That's why I want to join NASA.
Okay, you can explore this in more detail, but just try to figure out whether you feel that it will give you satisfaction if you've reached a bigger post and you have a bigger reputation like that, versus whether you don't have it. So the difference, just imagine the difference, and then we leave it at that. That then you can decide based on that as well. But it's very important to see why you're doing it. So then now the reason is coming up, that you want to have a better position in the society, in terms of an image, in terms of it's all a fictitious image, because what we have in the society and all that as an image is not really who we are, but it's just an impression of us. So that's not really who we actually are. So that doesn't really make us happy. That just shows other people that we are bigger than them. So that's all it does actually. So just explore this. It might look a little harsh or a little not so comfortable, but then it is uncomfortable for all of us when we start observing this thing. So I would just say that try to imagine the situation and try to see other people who are in that situation also. And although it might look like they have reached a higher level than what we have reached or something, from their point of view, they might be in a much worse state also. They might be in a better state, but it's highly possible that they're in a worse state within themselves. So
true, Arjun, in fact.
Don't just go by the glamour outside, go also by what's happening inside.
Thank you, sir.
So anyway, Arjun, nice exploration on part of the students and the faculties and everybody present. Nice questions coming up. And then, I mean, it is going to be an endless session because of the explorations that are taking place in the mind.
Yeah, we'll stop, I think, here.
So I think we should sign off as of now today, and we can meet again on Friday evening at 7:30 for the session on wellness. So thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah,
present.
Friday you have a session on health by Dr. Sundaraj. So you can attend that as well. That's every Friday.
So yeah, thank you everybody, and thank you Arjun.
We'll close now.
Namaste. Namaste everybody. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, Sabi.
नमस्ते सभी को
नमस्ते सभी को नमस्ते।